Hello everyone, this is B-Bell Dan and welcome back to constructing the Akira class Starship in Blender. Today we are going to pick up where we left off and working on the catamaran style hull. What we're going to be focusing on mostly today is adding in some of the smaller little fine details such as mostly the windows and other miscellaneous types stuff. But the windows is going to be the big portion of it. There's still a couple small little hull details that I need to kind of add in just a little bit, but we'll go back to that in just a minute. But first off, let's take care of the windows. If you've seen what I was doing before originally on the Enterprise J, what I did before, or what I would usually do here is I would, line up, like let's look at this side section here, is I try to line up these edges just right. So for example, this edge I would line it up to right about where the windows are at, and I would subdivide. Oops, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted to do. Oh, hold up. See, edit, there we go. And I would do Control R, select these right here, select this face, do a Control R, add in several different extra edge loops, or do a Shift K and one, two, three, stuff like that. That's terrible, but that's not what I'm going to do. But I'm going to do something completely different today. It was something that I did to model the windows on another Starship that I created in Blender. Y'all haven't seen videos of that yet, but don't worry, that'll be coming pretty soon. I'm going to go ahead and use the Boolean option to try to cut those windows in instead. The Boolean option is the exact same option that I used to cut on this front portion here, these side portions right here, and this little back portion is going to be the hangar bay or the docking bay area back inside the saucer section. So to kind of just go ahead and move this right along, I went ahead and worked off camera to go ahead and create those windows. I know what you're thinking, that doesn't quite, you know, I mean, they're jutting out, but said what we're doing is we're going to take this here, which I'm going to go ahead and go into object mode and call them windows. Oh, nope, just windows. For I can reference them a lot easier. And I went ahead and just modeled one, and I copied and paste, copied and paste, copied and paste all along here to try to match up the windows. There's still a couple little area windows that I need to probably model in, which I can do just a little bit later, but I need to also do some work on adjusting this right here. Actually, what I need to do is I need to try to compare the side profiles and the front profiles, because if we look at, I think I can do it on this one. No, I can't. Well, I could, but if we look at it from the front, everything seems to be matching up just the way we want it. But if we look on the side here, it's not quite matching up, so I need to probably do a little bit of modification on, whoops, on the saucer section. Here we go, saucer section here. Let me go ahead and call this saucer, and let me call these pylons. There we go. But that's what we're going to go ahead and do. So let's go ahead and get right to it. So I'm going to go ahead and let's go ahead and only have these two. Whoops, nope. Where are the pylons? Pylons. Ah, there we go. We're just going to have just these two showing right now. And these are a little bit different color because one, I don't have a texture added onto them, and also plus their normals are not right. So I can easily go ahead and just go into edit mode, select them all, do a Control N, and that will have all the normals face outward. But it's really, well, actually I think it would be kind of important. And we have a little issue right there. Let me go ahead and fix that real quick. Actually, let me do it this way. I don't want the window cutting into that right there. I may, yeah, let's go ahead and go into edit mode. I could probably delete that, but for right now, I'm going to go ahead and delete, whoops, these two windows here because they're intersecting directly into this, and I don't want them to intersect into that little detail. So I'm going to go ahead and delete those right now. I can always come back in and add them in again a little bit later. So it looks like there's actually even more windows that I need to add in, but as you can see, they're kind of cutting into this area. In fact, it looks like I need to probably do some extra work on this. Yeah. Yeah, actually I do. I do need to do some extra work on this. Looks like this thing hasn't quite bowed up like it's supposed to. Yeah, I need to move that up a little bit. A little bit of extra work for me to do on screen or off screen, but let's move right along. So we're going to go ahead and select the pylons, and I'm going to go ahead and go into add modifier mode, and we're going to go to Boolean. Y'all will probably remember this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here. Now I can either look through here until I find where it says Windows, or you could go ahead and click on this little icon here. It looks like a dropper, and bring it over to here to where it says Object Windows, and click on that. Now what it's doing right here is that it's intersecting, so it's only modeling the area where this and this intersect. There's also union, where what it union does is it models this added on to this, but what I am wanting is the difference. So what it's doing is it's taking this mesh here and is subtracting anywhere where this mesh is intersecting into this mesh. And a good way to see it is if I go ahead and I click on that, it hides them all. So you can see there's the windows right there. We bring everything in, and you can see, once again, still need to do a little bit of work. As you can see, this saucer section here is kind of interfering with those windows, but that's something I can work on. But there's all those windows. Now, it's not finished yet. They're actually far from finished. I still need to do a little bit more work, but I am going to go ahead and say, darn it, there's actually more little windows right there in that section as well. Let me see. What do I want to do? Do I want to? That's interesting. Let's see. Let's look at the top again. Well, it looks like those windows are supposed to indeed be there, so I don't really like the way that looks. And some of these are not quite adding up to all of these. Let me see. Right. Yeah, it looks like this side view. Yeah, something with these orthos are not quite adding up once I start putting in all these little extra details. Well, I'm going to go ahead. Well, I could do one of two things here is I can either try to fix this as best as possible, which is almost kind of what I'm wanting to do, or what I can do is, I know a lot of y'all are probably going to kind of hate me for this, but let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to cut out for just a second and kind of do some things, and I'll be right back. Okay, what I've decided to go ahead and do is, and this is the beauty of about me not applying that modifier yet, is that I can actually move everything on the fly. I am probably going to somewhat kind of regret this a little bit down the line, mostly because I'm no longer, you might say, you know, keeping this in line of an, actual, canon shipwise. But what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to move all these around just a little bit. There we go. To try to get it to where it'll match up to where we got nice little clean lines right around in that area there. So I moved those down, and it actually went ahead and adjusted this mesh on the fly for us. As you can see, we moved that around. Because I haven't applied it yet, so I can actually move it around, take a look at it. I mean, I can go, if I go into edit mode or out of edit mode and select that, I could see where those meshes are at. The only thing that I wish is if I would go select this and go into, actually maybe I could. No, I can't. I wish I could go into edit mode to kind of get an idea of about how that looks. I don't think that makes a difference. No, it doesn't. I bet wish how it's actually cutting into the geometry. And I probably let me go ahead and move these because I don't think we really. Oh, nope. Get rid of this because I don't think we need this here. That's probably going to. Nope. Quit that. There we go. It's probably going to actually just so I could see, well, yeah, I like the way that it's kind of the geometry, but apparently I don't have that option. So I'm just going to have to, just kind of go ahead and apply the modifier to see how it looks. And in fact, at this point in time, I am going to go ahead and I don't think I have a copy of that yet. No, I don't. So let's see, no copy, no copy. Those are some of those old things. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do a control D. Where? Oh, did I just freeze the program? Nope, no, I didn't. There it is. Let's go ahead. I went ahead and made a copy of it. Let's go ahead and something happened. Oh, nope. All right, control D. There. All right. And remove that modifier. There we go. And let's go ahead and move that into a different layer. So if I don't like how this looks, I don't have to either restart the program. I can just delete this and bring the copy in. So let's go ahead and select this again. And let's take a look and see what our geometry looks like. So we hit apply. It applies the, why did you not do it? Apply. I want you to apply. Why are you not? I know I don't have to have you up on this. Do I need to put it first? No, that's not it. That is weird. If I apply there, nope, that's not it. Huh, this is weird. Okay, I want to apply you. Why do you know apply? Why are you why no? Am I doing the wrong side? No, I shouldn't be. Hold up for just a second. I'll be right back again. Second time in this episode. Okay, and yeah, I'm sorry. I had it on the wrong side. Because I am right-handed, I, for some reason, keep thinking that the right side of the model is what I've been working on, but actually, in reality, I don't know why I started doing it, but I started on the left side of the model. So I was applying everything over here, and if you apply the modifier isn't on the side that's actually there, you might say, with the mirror modifier, it doesn't work. So sorry about that, but I went ahead and applied it. So all those windows are now cut in. So let's go in and take a look at the geometry. I'm pretty positive that I'm going to have to do some cleanup on it. So let's take a look. Oh, mm, yeah, it's not too bad, but it could be a lot better. But that's a part of the cleanup that I'm going to be doing, so I don't have a problem with that. So I can kind of clean that up a little bit as I go along. So, but we're not still done with the windows because as you can see, especially if I do this, yeah, those windows are going real deep inside there. And so I don't want that. So what I'm going to need to do now is try to select all of these right here, these interior portions of the windows, and delete all these interior faces. So all that were left are these little cutouts. So several different ways that I can do that. Primarily what I'm going to be doing is, let's go ahead and select all the vertices here. Let's hide those. Now that should give me a much better, and let's go ahead and temporarily turn that off. Now I have much better access to all of these interior faces here. So now I can go ahead and, oops, no, I don't want you either. Let's get rid of you. Let's hide that. Or actually, what I could do, let's do this real quick. I have a better idea. Let's go ahead and go from the front. I'm going to select those, and I'm going to do a control plus, 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 plus. There we go. Take a look at that. Now if I hide those, see, now I got just these right here available. So I select those, press delete, delete all the vertices, and voila. Now it went ahead and it left me nothing but just these little windows. So if I go ahead and do a, let's go back into mesh, show hide, and show all the hidden. There. Now we have each one of these windows are now open, so to say. But I don't want that. I mean, we actually want windows that we can texture in, windows that we can, uh, that we can put in an emission, node onto it to where it would reflect, where light's actually reflected out of it. So what I'm going to go ahead and do now, and I'm going to probably do majority of this off camera. I'm going to do the first portion on camera so you can see, is I'm going to select all of these here like so. Actually, what I need to do first is I need to go ahead and put on all these faces. So yeah, we need to put faces on all of these. So what I'm going to go ahead and try to do, there's several different ways I can do this. If I select all of these, I can just, like that, I can just press F and it'll fill it up with an individual face. I'm not, now, some of y'all might think that I'm a master at Blender, but I'm really not. I'm still trying to learn this just as much as, probably some of y'all are watching this. So, and I'm not 100% positive with how Blender deals with edges like this or faces like this to where it's all one continuous. To me, it almost seems like that rather than just have that continuous, I just want to, you know, have as many edge loops like this right here. That right there leaves kind of a bit of a triangle. There's another option that we could try on, and that is going to be if I select these edges. Now, see, that right there would be something that I'd probably be cleaning. I would probably just take that and that, do it Alt M. In fact, I'm going to do that, and that's part of the cleaning up. Like this edge here, I might not necessarily need on it, but anyways, moving right along, let's try this. Another way is we can do what's called a beauty fill, where, yeah, see, there's two more. We really don't need those. Let's do Alt M there. So we'll select all these edges, or all these vertices, I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see if we do Control F and we go to where it has, we can do fill, we can do grid fill, or beautify faces, rearrange faces, try to get less degenerated geometry. And set new faces into selected faces. See, some of these, I don't know what these exactly do. And apparently they used to have something that they would call, which was called beauty fill. Apparently that's not it. So what if we did beautify faces? No. Nope. Grid fill. Select two edge loops. No. Yep, part of the learning process, everybody. Let's see. No, that's not it. Well, see, yeah, before there was something that was called beauty fill, to where it would try to, it would fill in this entire all these spaces, and it would try to do it in such a way to where you would, oops, alarm goes off. Let's see. I think I'm just gonna have to just go ahead and just do make edge and face. Once again, I'm not too positive on how that's going to look when we do UV unwrap, and I don't know how that translates into. I mean, it looks like it's a pretty solid mesh, so I guess we could probably handle it. I can always go back in and delete it again because I'm going to apply a different texture to all these windows. So if I want to select all those faces and delete them and then probably go in by hand and create my own faces, I could just do a select by, similar texture, and that will, that will help give me the look that I want. But moving on along to the windows, so I take a bunch of windows like these and I select them, fill them up, and I select them. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an extrude. And let's see, let's try 0.05. Nope, we're going to need to go negative. So extrude negative 0.005. That might be a little bit too deep. So let's try extrude negative 0.001. And I think that might give us just the look that we are looking for right there. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, so yeah, we'll do that. So we'll do the same thing. I go through here, select all of, nope, not those. Select all of these individual loops or vertices here. This is going to be time consuming, so I'm going to be doing this off screen so as not to bore y'all too much, but we just do face, move on to the next one, and like that. Do the same thing, and face, and just keep going through all of these. I'm sure there's probably an easier way to do this, but this is the only way that I know how right now. Um, let's see. So we just keep selecting, and this is, yes, this is going to probably take a little bit of a while. Oops. And once again, I'm going to have to go back in and try to, um, you know, smooth out a lot of these edges. One great thing is I only have to do one side at a time, but because I do it on this side and it automatically does it on that side, but I still need to do some windows on the interior, and there might be some additional windows that I might be putting in, or I might leave them out, but I definitely need to try to fix some of the geometry up front that's not quite matching up with the, you know, with the orthos, because it looks like there is a slight difference between the orthos, between the sides, but it could be that I just probably just have them set up wrong. So I'm gonna have to take a look a little bit into that. You know, if you're ever modeling off of orthos, be sure that you have very good orthos. I mean, you know, you know, the more accurate, of course, I mean, well, definitely the more accurate they are, the better model that you're going to have come out. Because if they're not accurate, you're going to end up having issues that I've had with this one, and I've had with the Enterprise J, and I've had several times before when I was trying to make the actual starships, the actual ship scene. Is I've had bad orthos, and you try to do majority of your modeling using one point of view. Well, when you shift into another point of view, it doesn't quite look right. So then you're forced having to try to, think to yourself, well, okay, what's going to have to give? Do I want to try to make it look more realistic from this perspective or that perspective? Or you get into the problem like what I do is where you're trying to create it to be, as close looking to the original as possible, but you have the issue to where, well, it's not going to be 100% accurate because, said, we look onto the right side here, these windows aren't quite lining up to where the windows are on the ortho. The front portion here needs to bow out just a little bit more, but that's something I can fix easily. But then the saucer section isn't quite lining up in the right areas of where it's supposed to be. So, you start, you get to know the average person, it's not really going to be that major of a deal, but if you get somebody that really scrutinizes, and they are out there, believe me, they are out there, that they scrutinize even the littlest thing. I mean, they'll come in and they will tell you, it's like, well, it's a pretty good model, but did you know that the chiller grill, your chiller grill only has, you know 14 lines of, oops, only has about four. Why did I do that? Only has 14 lines in it, when in reality, in the actual model, it was 15. You're one line off, or what have you. So and I'm not really making fun of them. It's just, hats off to you. You pay a lot more attention to detail than what I really do. But they are out there, though, to where, if it's not exact, they'll call you out on it. You know, and what they'll eventually end up doing is just saying, well, okay, we're just going to go ahead and accept your model as a variance, as opposed to, an actual shit. Like, this won't be the Akira. Somebody, because the windows are all wrong, they call it, well, it might not be the Akira class, but it might be the, Sayonara class. Sorry, Sayonara. Now, watch, that's probably going to become a thing, but Sayonara class, it's like the Akira class, but not, because the windows are a little bit differently, or the hull plating is just off just a little bit different. So I said, I've seen people do that, and once again, they are out there, but oh well. You can only make it as realistic as possible, and it doesn't really bother me that much, because in reality, even inside Trek, there's been differences from ship to ship, based on from movie to movie, or from episode to episode. I mean, some people were pointing out that, you could tell in the, next generation, the Enterprise. What is that? That's a weird spot for that. The Enterprise uh, D. They could definitely tell when they switched from their big, and I might be wrong, but I think it was like their 8-foot model, to where they started using their, uh, 6-foot model, if I remember correctly, or was it 3-foot models? Was it 6 to 3, or was it 8 to 6? Well, they went to a smaller model, and surprisingly, even though it was a smaller model, it had a lot more little details in. It just, the only time they went back to the larger model was when they were filming on the movie, because apparently, the higher definition in the theaters, the the smaller model, I mean, I guess was, didn't quite hold up to scrutiny or something. But anyway, some people were noticing the difference of there, and I remember reading and hearing some people trying to justify these small, subtle little differences as, oh well, this here is refitted. Why do I keep putting an extra zero into that? Extra neck 0001. There we go. It was a variant. It went in on refits. That's why it's a little bit different, or what have you. But it was still the Galaxy class. But anyways, I think that's enough talking. I'm going to go ahead and cut out here real quick, and I'm going to finish doing all these other windows here. I'm probably going to go ahead and, just for the heck of it, apply white emittance texture on it. Just for the heck of it, to make it look a little bit different. And I'm going to do the same thing on the inside windows. So I'll cut back. All the windows should be done on the catamaran style hull, and I might even have that little area fixed up in the front, just to make it look a little bit more accurate from the side view. So yeah, I'll cut back right back in when I get done with that. So I'll see you in a minute. And now all the windows are done. So, as I've kind of feared, I am going to have to go back and do some cleaning up with the mesh. As you can see, there are some little anomalies inside it. It doesn't seem to show up when you're rendering, but I don't want to really take that risk, because, I mean, if I decide, or if anybody else decides to try to render this at a high resolution, those anomalies may actually probably pop up. So I want to try to get rid of those as much as possible. And also, I mean, the Boolean isn't, yeah, there's, you can see those anomalies again right there. And I think for the most part, those should be easy to fix. Let me look at this again. Where was it at? Okay, like these right here. Um, we go into edit mode. Yeah, those should, for the most part, be pretty easy to fix. If I was to go ahead and, let's say, select this face and delete the face, and then we go in and start adding in all of the individual faces like so, that should, for the most part, fix that anomaly. Let's go ahead and try that out real quick. Because I think I know where that's coming from, and it's just the way that, just like what I was saying earlier about how this face right here, it's not divided, into more, um, even what I would probably think more fitting, uh, layout as far as edge loops or edges are concerned. So therefore, it tries to kind of almost shrink wrap, for lack of a better term, shrink wrap the new face around the um, around all these edges or around these vertices, and sometimes it doesn't quite work out the way that you would probably think it would or think it probably should. So let's take a look at this and see how this works. Let's see, we'll do one, two, three, we'll do that, and that should be a triangle. I could probably get rid of one of those, but let's see. No, that didn't seem to work. Let's see. Let's go into edit, control N, see if that works. Hmm, not necessarily. So I'll have to go in and take a look at it to see if I can figure out what might be causing all those anomalies. I remember somebody explaining it to me once before, but for the life of me, I can't remember exactly what it is. But the Boolean operation doesn't always do a perfect job. And as you can see here, here's another example of this mesh, of this face, trying to figure out about how it's going to fit with this. When you put it into the Boolean, it cuts this out, but sometimes once in a while, you think it would just go ahead and do something like this right there. Wait, hold up. Did I do that right? Yeah. No, I didn't. Let's try that again. You think it would probably do something like that. That would be a lot more cleaner and fixes it up a lot better. But no, it doesn't. Instead, it took these one, two, it took these four vertices, one, two, three, four, and it tried to put a face on those four. I'm guessing it was trying to keep it into a quad, but it was inverted. So right there was kind of a false face, if you remember seeing that. So I got to go through it and kind of clean up a bunch of that, and actually also kind of, and this is probably the last part before I finish up the episode. Looking back at the pictures again, I mean, I need to add some more windows, but I probably need to move some more because I found out that right in here are some windows. I think it's about two sections of three windows each. One, two, three, one, two, three. So a total of six right there. And these windows actually did go right up inside here. Now, in that mesh, there was indeed, so I didn't quite make this wrong, but there were some windows that were intersecting with these grid lines here. And but see, I don't quite like that because I don't see the purpose of why they would put the windows there. I think they would try to keep it low on the grid lines. So I'm probably just going to go ahead and keep the forward windows out. But these back I'm going to put in some more windows right here, and I might move these back windows up. Um, but the rest of the windows I kind of like, so I'm going to try to keep those in there. And so how am I going to do that? I'm probably going to go ahead and bring back in that. And if I decide to do it, I'll do it on the next episode to show you about how I could probably do this. Is I'll bring in the other mesh, the one that I duplicated of these pylons before I started adding in the windows, and because it should be almost a direct overlap. Yeah, yeah, okay, it is. It should be almost a direct overlap. So I'll bring them in, color one of them red, and on one of them, I'll delete all the faces. The one without the windows, I will delete all the faces where the windows are at. And then on the one with the faces, I will delete areas, the faces where the windows are tied in that I want to get rid of, and then I'll join them, and then I'll do an Alt V to combine all those meshes, or Alt V and then remove duplicates, so it'll combine them all together, and those two meshes together into one mesh, retaining the structure of the mesh, so I don't have to kind of go in and you know um, let's look at it this way. Go in and delete these and one, two, three, because sometimes, like right here, that edge, the vertice for these that combines these for this edge, this edge, this edge is gone. So I have to reconstruct that. So it'd just be easier if I do it that way. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and call the episode quits right here. I mean, it looks starting to look a little bit more like a Starship with those windows added in, and I mean, and with the windows, everybody's always said, people that know more about starships than I do, and actually do research and trying to figure out the size of a starship, will tell you that you can get a sense of scale of a starship through its windows. So here you're really getting kind of a sense of a scale of about how big this starship is. So from off the camera, what I'm going to be doing between this episode and the next is I'm going to be cleaning up the mesh, fixing some of the windows, and adding in a few small of the additional details, especially details to the bottom. But when we kick back into the next episode, I'm going to go ahead and get started working on these pylons, or not the pylons, but these warp nacelles here. So that way we can go ahead and I think that's actually going to be a pretty difficult portion of it. I don't know, it might be easier than I probably think, but that's what we'll be working on next. So until then, I just want to thank you all for watching. This is B Belt Dan, and I will see you in the next episode.